Hello, welcome to the channel. Right, so this is a quick video. I'm wanting to do some videos about, it's kind of about, I'm just hearing on the news about drug death in Scotland, but that's another thing, right? About electric cars and the consistent argument. So this guy is driving a Rover 3.5 litre P6. He said, I can smell lithium from here, right? So, a big discussion goes on. The reason that I'm doing this particular video, so Greg Byram, why do you have a problem with lithium? Had one on hire all day yesterday. Made so much more sense. So that's like, you know, typical of the kind of, you know, so is that really it? So you hired one, you know, you're totally excluded from the experience. The analogy would be the food. Like when you eat food, do you know, where does it come from? You're excluded from that. You're cushioned, you know, from the experience when you're buying food. You know, you eat it. You didn't have to go out and kill it or grow it or make it or whatever that is. So it's the same with electric car. So he's getting in this electric car. It's a wonderful experience for him. He's plugged it in and charged it up. What the hell's wrong with this thing? It takes a while to... Right. So this guy says, plenty when it's mined by children. And I better get to the crux of this. And what they did, or what they thought they did to me here. They got personal. So what I said is, well, there's a massive list of problems. That's me there. It's my name, Lucinda Ferguson, Macbeth. There is a massive list of problems. Lithium is okay in phones, lights, laptops, but using a massive battery, an overweight, toxic death trap like a Tesla, and using taxpayers' cash to fund such a fall is very definitely not okay. Then he says, overweight, toxic death trap, haha, and what do you drive? So, you know, so that's Greg Byram. Kelvin Savage, overweight and toxic. My Leaf weighs about 200 kilograms more than my Sd1s did. Alright, okay, so he's had Sd1s. And emits no emissions when driving. For that extra weight, I get multiple airbags, a banging audio system, heated front and rear seats, a steering wheel, awesome AC and heater, and even sat-nav. Grow up. So he's telling me to grow up. Right, so well, what he's actually admitting there is that the Rover Sd1, which is a large executive car, is lighter than a small economy car. So he's actually admitting that, right? And he's also going on to say about the airbags and audio heated, blah, blah, blah. So ICE cars have that as well. You know, they've had that for some time now. So it's not really much of an, and he's telling me to grow up. Well, you know, it's just a bit vacuous. So Mike Wallace says, you are wasting your time talking to these muppets. They don't know what they are talking about and are just being led by the oil and gas industry. I'm with you all the way, unless you have owned a decent EV for several years. I'm not prepared to list the bull that some people spew. The hate is just rednecks. So I said to him straight away, you admit your large executive's car is lighter than a small BEV. Then you're going to say it emits no emissions. Right, that's a big problem, because it does. Because you have to take, you know, the emissions. You have to take, I've already had, sort of like went over all the statistics on the costs basis, but you have to take into account, so, you know, it's them that's saying that this is an environmental thing to improve the environment. It's clearly not. So when you look at the cost, you have to replace, you know, the overall cost of ownership. We've done a bit of a graph on another thread, and it's, so it was over 20 years, your ICE vehicle would cost you £20,000 and your battery electric vehicle would be £30,000, and that was sort of realistic kind of, so it's costing you 10 grand more over 10 years, 20 years. It's like £1,000 a year more to run. So I mean, they're not I said that they're not thoroughly I'm wrong saying that. They're not thoroughly unsustainable. I think the problem they've made is they've went for luxury cars, Teslas. They should have focused on small Nissan Leaf type cars. But no, they had to go for the big profits. So Mike Wallace, that's all you're capable of. You can't hold down a serious, untruthful. What he said to me is, Mike Wallace, what did he say? So he called me a muppet. Talking to these muppets, I don't know what they are talking about. They're just being led by the oil and gas industry. I'm with you all the way. Unless you have owned a decent EV for several years, I'm not prepared to listen to the bull that some people spew. The hate is just rednecks. Oh, let's have a look at this guy. Married to Lorraine Wallace. Oh, right. He's probably descendant from William Wallace. Probably. Oh, aye. Without a doubt, he'll be descended from William Wallace. Aye, that's what that'll be. That's pretty obvious. Yeah. He's even putting his bairns on, so the whole world can see his bairns, his grandchildren. What a moron. He's obviously not very bright. I mean, I wouldn't do that with my grandchildren, but, you know. It's the thing when you put your trust in American corporations. You know, you trust American corporations like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, well, X, sorry. So, Mike Wallace, so I answered him, and it's quite clear here. So that's my name there. And when you reply, the person you're talking to's name comes up. It's quite simple. So he says, who are you talking to? He says, so I didn't answer that because I think it's pretty stupid, really. Greg Byram goes, Mike Wallace to Kelvin Savage, not Kevin. Herself clearly a sign of madness. So I'm opposing their EV cult following, their crazy EV obsession, and it means that I'm mad, of course, right? She is on some strong painkillers, so you shouldn't really be doing that, Mike, right? It's not really good. You start going on about people being mentally disturbed or on painkillers or, like being disabled or mentally deranged. Well, I've done it myself. You shouldn't do it. And I really try not to do that sort of thing. So you really don't want to mention medication. I mean, what medication I might be on or I'm not on or might not be on any, it's irrelevant, It's just, you're just being nasty, so. So I thought I'd just do that because he's saying, who are you talking to? Herself, says Kelvin. Kelvin thinks I'm talking to myself. Let's have a look at Kelvin. Oh, he's friends with Ian Seabrook. Another fanny. The 20 mile an hour guy. Can't do multivariate analysis. Kelvin Savage. Doesn't really have much going on. Probably not much going on between the lugs. I don't know why these guys are. Well, they're sort of into classic cars. So Lucas, he must be gay. It's very bittersweet because he's called his car after it's a male name. Like, I know that I've got anything against gays. Gays are fine, especially in my situation. Gays are alright, yeah. It's new to Gladstone, our car saved a previous owner neglect and it's going to a good home with an Sd1 fan for it cruising the roads of Wakatu. Oh, he's in New Zealand. So he's obviously an ex, what do you call them again? Expat, a Brit living in New Zealand. Probably, I don't know if he swum there or did he use an aeroplane. So there you go, I think that'll do just now. I'm going to go over the rest of this. There's a lot to go over. And there's a lot of information on it I don't want to lose because I researched it and I got the information about the ins and outs of electric cars, the EVs, and there's a lot of common tropes. This lot have just got abusive right away. They haven't really put any meaningful information out, but there is some common tropes. Like, typical one would be, Norway does it, and then there is research that you need to do about that, about Norway does it. Norway are using Teslas. you know, so it's not just simple as going Norway does it, and you know, that's the job done. You've destroyed the argument. Let's move on to the next one. No, because there's always ins and outs of all this, and the reality is that electric vehicles, we're not ready for them. They're not fit for purpose. The manufacturers and the corporations have went about it the wrong way. They're going for profits. And, you know, and it would have been alright if they'd started off like with Nissan Leaf type things, or that little Citroen Army, but they made it, it's only doing 30 miles per hour in the UK, in the United Kingdom, so it's useless. I can't buy one of them. Why not drive along at 30 miles per hour? You'd be driving without due care and attention, you know, if you went out of the city. So that's only any good for cities. So, right, so we're going to put this up, and then we'll be able to tell them who we're talking to. Mike Wallace, Kelvin Savage, Greg Byram's not been too abusive. He just said so he's been alright. It's like, who are you talking to? I'm talking to you. Why would I not be? I'm talking to you. It says there, look, Mike Wallace. That's who I'm talking to. Look, Mike. There's the information there. Answer it in an adult way, not like a little child. Like some daft little child, because I'm upsetting your little, I'm claiming your toys are crap. Right? Kelvin's overweight and toxic. So he's absolutely admitting they're shite. That it's 200 kilograms more than an Sd1. I mean, he doesn't say what Sd1 he's talking about. And if it's a 3.5 litre V8, so his small Nissan Leaf weighs more than a Rover 3500 Van den Pla V8, top of the range executive car in the mid. Well, the Van den Pla was the 80s. The Rover 3.5 litre was introduced in 1975 or 6. That's a top car. That's a heavy car, and your Nissan Leaf's heavier than that. Okay, right, you get my point. So thanks for watching. Bye bye to Mike and Kelvin.